Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologize for the delay, and if you are noticing any dropped frames, we are trying to rectify that as quickly as we can. Starting grid is already getting ready to get sorted. I'm going to have to haul through this. As Julian Dune on pole with David Dendelo on the outside of the front row, Ollie Peacock and Andre Cini on that second row. John Michael Nguyen and Martha Ndula on row 2 with Gabriel Perez and Harley Lewis on row number 3. Craig Ridley and Erwin Vandenberg on row number 5 with Christoph Herbernot and Pascal Piloto on row 6. Row 7, Scott McIntyre and Donald Poole, Jeremy Hansen and Lance Simon on row number 8 to round out the 16-car field. A little bit of an intro. It's going to be 14 laps around Monza today in the Pro Mazdas. We'll talk about that once they get rolling. Was hoping to do the pre-race show, but like I said, things are dropping frames really badly at the moment, as I am sure you guys are dealing with right now as well. Lights are on, revs are up, and we are green here at Monza. First run down in towards turn number 1 for the first time. We always talk about how difficult the chicane of the run is in towards turn number 1. Let's see what's going to happen this time into the first chicane. Up the inside goes the number 10 of Ollie Peacock. He's going to duck out of it though, so into the race lead will be your pole sitter of Julian Dune. He'll be able to hold on as they work out of turn 1. Off of 1 and through turn 2, the whole field's going to run and in towards the second chicane as let's see the 8 car of David Dendelo into that race lead. The 3 of Julian Dune slotting into second. Sorry about that with the mix-up. Bit of a rush and a bit of a panic the last couple minutes. In the background, you see 3 and 4 wide. I see the number 4 car. I believe that's Christoph Herbernot back there. I believe he may have actually made up a couple of spots on this start, but through a couple of lesmos for the first time. He's going to have to do it round the outside, checking back in with your race leaders, and it's already a nice breakaway here for David Dendelo. Look at this gap, already out to a full second over Julian Dune. The 10 of Ollie Peacock not far behind that second place running car, but this is what you want to see if you're David Dendelo. Get a nice gap here early and try to break this slipstream best you can. Let's see now, after that crazy chicane on through the back end of the circuit in towards the Parabolica here at the end of the lap here at Monza. This is where the slipstream going to be so important if you're these guys up amongst your race leaders. And for Ollie Peacock, you have to wonder, has he maybe lost too much ground here over Julian Dune? First lap of 14 going to close and be in the books. We'll get that ticker running across the top of your screen. You see now in towards that first chicane now for the second time. You see these top 3, they close on each other with the hard braking zone and with the slipstream down that long front straightaway. And that's going to allow these guys to keep in touch. Can Julian Dune go back to fighting now with David Dendelo and maybe take that race lead away? Of course, Dendelo did have the point at the start of the race in qualifying. Here goes the move up the inside for Julian Dune. Up the inside of David Dendelo. He's got the spot. Race lead back into the number 3 car. Now David Dendelo is going to have to wonder, does he maybe have the speed to reel that gap back down and in? Another driver doing well. This number 5 car of Gabriel Perez. He started this race in 7th. Already has his way up towards P4. Is just ahead. You see a little bit wide. Went Julian Dune through the first lesmo into the second one. That might open the door slightly for Ollie Peacock. As down this back straightaway into the Ascari chicane once again, fight might be on for that second position, but it doesn't look like it. Not going to get too aggressive. Here is Ollie Peacock, keeping the slipstream so important all the way around the racetrack here at Monza. Once again, we apologize for the technical issues at the start of the stream. Was trying to identify whether it was issues on my end or issues on the YouTube server side, and I believe it's on YouTube's end. Speed test and ping plotter looked all right for me. Is in towards that final corner. going to go your top three of Julian Dune, David Dendelo, and Ollie Peacock. So now the fight for second, I think, is going to be on. Ollie's got a nice run as they work off that final corner and down this front straightaway. See the snaking. These cars and these Pro Mazdas get so much slipstream and help with it. And actually, this is very smart by the aid of David Dendelo. Just gives the inside to the 10 of Ollie Peacock, but David's going to have the slipstream, but Ollie's going to pull in the second regardless. I think pulling out of the throttle a little bit there with David Dendelo, so he's going to lose that second spot. And as you can see, Ollie Peacock up into P2. Now he's going to be the one who has to fight with Julian Dune. So let's see now, in towards the second chicane once again. This top three all over one another as they work through and in towards the Lesmos. Just about going to be able to hold on to that as Ollie Peacock trying to break away from that number 8 car, but David Dendelo doing very good not to allow. And look who's creeping up into 4th spot as well. Gabe Perez, just talked about him last trip around the racetrack. Started this race in 14th. He's already, excuse me, in 7th. He's currently up to P number 4. So up 3 spots there is the driver of the number 5. Trying to get close to the Ascari chicane, the 8 car of David Dendelo running third, not liking the dirty air. Ollie Peacock looking relatively solid through the Ascari chicane. Now down this back straight. And once again in towards the Parabolica. I'm going to see the gap that the drivers have here is likely going to close up. We'll ride on board with David Dendelo this trip down the front straightaway because I think things are going to get spicy in towards the first chicane this time. On board through our right front camera, looking down the right side pod of the number 8 car of David Dendelo and working the slipstream. Both Ollie Peacock and David Dendelo in towards this first chicane. Let's see what's going to happen. To the outside goes Ollie Peacock, attempting to go around the outside of Julian Dune into the first chicane. Not going to get the job done. Can David Dendelo make something of it? He gets turned. Or did he turn himself? Contact at the first chicane. First bit of drama we've seen. This is going to cause a huge stack up here. But now the question is, did the 8 car have help? So you see on the replay, it had been from this number 5 car, Gabriel Perez, if there was contact. We'll put the cameras on board him, and I don't think so. I think David lost it all by himself, and that was actually a little bit tough to call, actually. Maybe a little net code there, but it didn't look or sound like Gabe got into the back of him, but Gabe does have actually damage on the front of his car, so maybe a little bit of a net code incident there. Unfortunate for the driver, both of the 5 and of the 8 machine. That's going to see both of them drop out of those race leading positions. And now the 10th car of Ollie Peacock. He will still fighting back with Julian Dune as they run into the Ascari chicane. So through Ascari now for the 4th time of 14. Down the straightaway in towards Parabolica. Here comes the 10. Trying to make a move, to trying to stay close in the slipstream. Now, these 2 drivers likely to pick up the aggression on one another. Peeks to the inside, does Ollie Peacock, but nothing going there. John Michael Nguyen, as a result of that incident, he gets easily promoted into 3rd. Harley Lewis closely following in 4th with Christoph Habineau. He's in this fight as well as Andre Cini. So all those drivers getting 2 spots each as a result of the incident last trip around the racetrack at the first chicane. Here comes the 10 of Ollie Peacock now to start lap 5. He wants to fight for this race lead. Going into the first chicane up the inside, should be job done easily, but once again, Julian Dune going to have the slipstream that we always talk about here at Monza. So while I'll have the race lead for now, it's not going to be too much of a gimme. John Michael Leon going to be able to hold on to what is probably the longest pack we have on the racetrack. I see basically 7, maybe 8 cars, car wide, going through the first chicane in the background. That was Gabriel Perez. Let's see what befell the number 5, the driver of the number 5, down to the first chicane. Remember, that incident last trip around the racetrack with David Dendelo. Did maybe something similar happen down here? You saw him running off in towards the cones. I think he just locked him up. A little bit of damage on the front end of that race. Man, he blew through that chicane. He'll have to serve a slowdown, but I think struggling with that race car at the moment, irregardless of that situation. Ollie Peacock, it seems, by the way, has lost the race lead while we were looking at that replay. So Julian Dune back to the point for now. Fight for third. We'll shift cameras over here. It's going to be John Michael Noyon still having to deal with the likes of Harley Lewis and Andre Cini. Down this straightaway. Look at that pack as they work down in towards the parabolic and really 3 wide between the 6, the 2, and the 4. The 7, John Michael Noyon, happy to be clear as this is in towards the parabolic and 3 wide. This usually doesn't work, but can they make this stick? In the background, I believe, is Christoph Herbino at the tail end of the pack trying to make it work, and they will get through the parabolic at 3 wide and survive. Down the front straightaway, they're going to make it in 3 abreast again. In towards turn 1, maybe even 4 wide as they fan out and use every inch of racetrack, fighting for everything they can, jockeying for track position. They'll get 2 by 2 as they get into the braking zone of the first chicane. So off the first chicane they'll come at the head of the field. There was not a change of position, so Ollie Peacock opting to stay in line that time through the first chicane. Fight for 4th on back, still going to be great. John Michael Noyon, a slight breakaway. See the 4 and the 2 fighting there. You also saw the 8 car, David Dendelo, jockeying out in the braking zone. A little bit of a dive there from that 4 car, and he's actually going to force a mistake here from the driver ahead of him. That's the 2 machine of Andre Cini. Gets forced wide off the second chicane, and Christoph Herbino, maybe a little bit of contact. The 2's off in the runoff. So we'll have to see what happened to Andre Cini this time. See whether or not there was contact down at the Lesmo. This, I think, will be the camera that shows it. You see, through the second chicane, forced into a mistake. Did they touch the 2 and the 4? I think the answer is no. If it was a slight one. As let's see, into the race lead went Ollie Peacock while we're looking at that replay. Of course, with the slipstream here at the head of the field, you're going to be trading the lead quite often at the head of these trains. John Michael Noyon trying to hold on to third around the outside. And Christoph Herbino takes a peek at the bottom groove. Excuse me, that's, I believe, Harley Lewis taking a peek. Another the 8 car, David Dendelo, I apologize, 3 wide. Now Harley Lewis, John Michael Noyon, and David Dendelo in towards turn 1, clear. We'll get Harley Lewis, who will have the inside into the first chicane. Can David Dendelo get clear? Nearly a little bit of contact between those 2, but they'll stay single file. Swapping out through Curva Grand. Voice starting to fail already. It has been a very exciting race thus far. See, looking at all those cars, nose to tail right now in this second pack is out of the head of the field. Ollie Peacock able to get, oh, it's John Michael Noyon. I was looking at the live timing. What has happened to the driver of the 7 car of John Michael Noyon? Disaster for him. Through the second chicane, goes from running 3rd, and he's going to end up in your mid-pack. Let's see, into the second chicane. I think it's just a mistake all by himself. Watch for how he hops the curbs. First one's all right. Second one just gets him loose and he can never get it back. A little bit of contact with that outside wall following that incident. It's going to be a disaster for Mr. John Michael Noyon. Actually, it looks like he's been able. Oh, nope, I take that back. I see another car running a similar paint scheme I saw in the background. I believe it's the 9 car. Actually, I believe they're running the same paint scheme. You see the driver down there, and nope, not the same paint scheme, but very similar regardless. As we will cross halfway of this race left to go, 7 laps down, 7 laps to go this time. A cross start finish. Your top 2 going to be nose to tail. We'll keep the camera focused here, even though you saw side by side for 3rd in the background. In towards turn 1 for the race lead. Julian Dune will have the preferred line up the inside, and Ollie Peacock's going to let him have it behind. Lewis, Dendelo, and Herbino, they're fighting for 3rd. Lewis is going to be the victor there, this time through the first chicane. But Dendelo is trying to set that move up. Not quite going to be able to do so, and Christoph is going to have to settle in line in 5th. So through now, up towards the second chicane. Harley Lewis trying to defend on the outside from a charging David Dendelo. Saw him get into problems early on in this race, and he's going to get into him again. A little bit of a touch between the 8 and the 6. Is going to see this 6 car drop down a couple of, this 8 car drop down a couple of spots. Now Harley Lewis, he's going to have his hands full with Christoph Herbeno. We'll hold off on the replay, and Harley Lewis, he's off wide. He's going to drop spots as well. No momentum for Harley Lewis coming off the second Lesmo. Going to see him lose somehow only 1 spot on the run in towards the Ascari chicane. I was expecting 2 spots plus to go away from Harley Lewis. In the background, David Dendelo already once again fighting back up to get into those sort of lead spots. He's been able to rebound nicely and settle into what should be 5th or 6th. It is P6, as next is going to have Craig Ridley he has to deal with as Harley Lewis will take a peek around the outside of the 4. Christoph Herbeno for 3rd through the Parabolica. Won't quite make the move and get it done. This time off that final corner. And down this front straightaway they will go. Checking back in with your race lead. You see the fight for 2nd. Lurking there in the background. To the outside is going to be Ollie Peacock trying to make it work the long way around here. In towards this first chicane, and he's not quite clear, but he has the preferred line for the second bit of it. Ollie Peacock back to the race lead. Through Curva Grand, your top 2 go. Fight for 3rd. Christoph Herbeno. What a run from him. 11th up to 3rd. Up 8 spots in this race. 5 seconds lost over those top 2 we just saw at the bottom of the screen going into the second chicane. So I don't think there'll be potential for much more as contact is going to mess up that rear wing. And the 4 of Christoph Herbeno, who is having such a good race, it looks is going to get taken out of this event, and that car is broken. That is going to be race done. I believe it was Harley Lewis from behind, a little bit too deep on the brakes, gets into the back of that driver in the number 4 that was running in 3rd. Replay up on screen. Into the second chicane, way too deep on the brakes for Harley Lewis. Not much the 4 Christoph Herbeno could do there. No fault of his own whatsoever. And that's going to see his day pretty much come to an end. But it's going to promote this man as David Dendelo somehow back into the top 3. We've seen him have contact a couple times already today. He'll just now be able to maybe hold on to this podium position. Harley Lewis has damage behind him. It might be Craig Ridley here, who runs in 5th. Might be sort of the driver with the advantage here, but you see a little bit of contact on that Benetton-themed Pro Mazda. So how's it going to work here as we start lap number 10 of 14? 5 laps to go this time in towards turn 1. We're going to keep on this fight for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th on back. And through the first chicane, these guys stay single file. Oh, there's a mistake for Julian Dune. Through the first chicane, what has happened to the 3 car? Was there contact with these 2 down the front straightaway? And in towards turn number 1. Hard on the brakes, in towards... Oh, he just messed it up all by himself. Just flat out missed the braking marker, did Julian Dune. I actually don't like that rejoin at all. We'll watch this back. I don't understand why he cut across the chicane the way he did. He was already so far clear, he was almost always going to get a slowdown. And I think just rejoining like that, you're at risk of getting in contact with the 10 of Ollie Peacock. So the fight for the race lead is pretty much going to come to an end between Ollie Peacock and Julian Dune, but you'll see what I mean. He's already so far off, he should just follow that asphalt. But trying not to get the slowdown penalty. Julian Dune cuts a little tighter. May have actually somehow avoided it there. So maybe I'm incorrect on that one, but we'll check back in with the fight for 3rd on back as David Dendelo is going to have it. Now the question is going to be Harley Lewis. What kind of damage is he going to have after that bit of contact down to the second chicane? We saw that 1 lap ago. Not really slipstreaming up the same way. Now that he has that damage, and let's take a peek down the front straightaway this time. Can Harley Lewis get the run he needs. They both of the top two in this run. David Dendelo and Harley Lewis is going to go side by side. Craig Ridley lurking in the background, and up the inside, Harley Lewis. A little bit of damage to the front wing, but he still has speed, but he doesn't have rear traction. Big wiggle through the first chicane. He'll go to the tail end of this line, and I think he'll just about lose the slipstream this time. Replay up on screen. So let's see, in towards turn one. You're going to see him get the space, but he can't quite hold on to it. Hard on the brakes right about now. And just a bit of a wiggle, locking up a rear tire with Harley Lewis. The exact opposite of what you want to have happen there. That's going to see him drop to the tail end of this string of cars that was running for third, which means David Dendelo is going to be about 8 or 9 car lengths clear at the moment of that car right there that we're pointing the cameras at. That is Craig Ridley, who's just sort of quietly lurked here in the background of this fight. Craig dealing with that number 12 machine of Erwin Vandenberg, car we've not talked about much in this group. TNT Racing driver. He's just sort of slotted in at the tail end of this train and sort of just sat there. I haven't really seen Erwin get too involved in any of these dicey situations. Let's see, in towards the Parabolica now. Approaching the final handful of laps of this race. Only about 6 minutes. A little bit less left to go for these drivers. It's down the front straightaway, and actually, nope, I take that back. It looked like somehow Julian Dune had reeled in the gap. I was incorrect. As a fight for third. Can Craig Ridley get the slipstream? We see major side pod damage to the left-hand side of Craig's car. Around the outside here at turn one, no one's going to make anything work there. Craig able to hold on to his position. But Harley Lewis, I will say, actually rebounding better than I thought he would with the slipstream. After that mistake, 3.5 miles or so ago, one trip around the racetrack at Monza, I thought he was going to be too far back to catch up this little 3-car group, but he's already there. Fight into the second chicane now for Harley Lewis. Not going to pan out. They'll stay single file. But you know, this blue and black and white number 6 is gonna be aggressive through these last couple laps to pick up spots. Off to second les mode. This is where the slipstreaming really starts here, through the second half of the lap. On the run up to les mode is pretty short. Can't really slipstream through there, through the les modes. Not much slipstreaming there. But it's the run of the Ascari chicane and the run of the Parabolica. Into the Ascari, this entire group stays single file. And then off Ascari and down the following straightaway, here comes the 6-car, trying to work the draft. Craig Ridley trying to get up on the 8-car of David Dendelo as well. Parabolica this time. Is there going to be a move on from anyone in this little pack? Coming to 2 laps remaining. Down the front straightaway, here comes the slipstream. Everyone in line going to try to make something work. Julian Dune, I think Ollie Peacock made a mistake. The fight is on for the race lead with 7 miles left in this race. Through turn one, Peacock's going to just about hold on for now. Fight for third. 3 wide into the chicane, and the 8-car of David Dendelo has got it. Couple of cars fighting here. In towards the second chicane now. The 3 of Julian Dune able to rebound. He takes the race lead through the second chicane now. Around the outside, a little bit wide. The 10 of Ollie Peacock going to get the run into the first Lesmo, and he's going to take that race lead right back. Through Lesmo number 2. Those two are still going to fight. I still want to keep half an eye on this fight here for for third on back. But once we see this white flag, we are going to be heavily monitoring this fight for the race lead. So down the run now, in towards the Ascari chicane. David Dendelo is going to have the spot. And into the lead once again goes Julian Dune. We're not going to take the cameras for the rest of this race off of these two. So Ollie Peacock, what is he going to do? Was pretty much given a gimme and he's lost this race lead, and he's potentially thrown this race away. But what can happen with the 10 car of Ollie Peacock? Can he fight back on the 3 of Julian Dune? Down the front straightaway for the penultimate time. White flag in the air. To the inside goes the 10 of Ollie Peacock, wheel to wheel for the race lead. The 3 of Julian Dune around the outside. Will he be able to defend? They're 2x2 in the background as well, but we need to keep the cameras pointed here. Through turn 1, Peacock has the lead back. Through and off that first chicane, a little bit of contact between those two, and that's going to favor the 10 car as he opens up 5 or 6 car lengths between the two of them. Off now in towards the second chicane. How are these two going to be able to fight in towards the second chicane? They're not going to be able to. So Julian Dune in that second spot. You see both of them running wide, pushing for every little inch of racetrack they have. Lesmo number 1 going to be equal between the two of them. Lesmo number 2 actually a little bit wide is Ollie Peacock. That should favor Julian Dune. Lesmo number 2 a little bit wide is Ollie Peacock, but Julian Dune runs off as well. Here comes the slipstream. 3 car lengths right now the gap as they run in towards the Ascari chicane. Julian not quite there yet. It's going to have to be a move. Last time, last lap into the Parabolica. Through Ascari, he closes, a bit of a wiggle, and that's going to do it. That should give this win to Ollie Peacock in the 10 car. Just one little mistake for Julian Dune is going to be the gimme that Ollie Peacock needs. Let's watch this fight now for third on back. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, all in a train of cars. They're going to stay single file. Here comes the 12 car, though, of Erwin Vandenberg up the inside of Craig Ridley, but he won't get there. But off the final corner for the final time, able to hold on. The 10 car of Ollie Peacock is going to win the 11th round of the iRacing Pro Mazda Championship Series here at Monza. What a run here for Ollie Peacock. You know he's going to be a little bit happy with that. And what a run for everyone involved. Let's see if we have any other close fights. A couple of drivers within a couple seconds of each other coming across the line. But it looks like that's going to be the bulk of our battles out there on the racetrack. And so with that, let's go down your finishing results here at Monza. It's going to be Ollie Peacock taking the big victory here over Julian Dune. David Dendelo in third, Craig Ridley fourth, and Erwin Vandenberg rounds out the top 5. Harley Lewis in sixth, Marcin Andula in seventh, John Michael Noyon in eighth, with Donald Poole and Pascal Piloto rounding out the top 10, with Jeremy Hobson, Andre Feeney, Scott McIntyre, Gabriel Perez, Lance Simon, and Christoph Urbano. Unfortunate for him, that one little mistake near the end of that race took him out of a potential contending position inside that podium. This has been a great championship overall. The broadcast, unfortunately, it sort of shifted from private league, and then we went back to these official races, and it's been absolutely great with these sort of racetracks. These big racetracks and these little feeder series formula cars tend to put on an awesome show, and I think you're going to love it as we go into these next couple of weeks. Next week, this championship will return as we go to the final round of this season for the iRacing season. That is going to be at Road America. These little cars are a ton of fun to watch around the iconic track up there in Wisconsin in the northern part of the United States. Great circuit, great racing, great race cars. And then over week 13, as is sort of becoming a tradition here on RaceSpot TV, we will have a Pro Mazda week 13 special event to cap things off and get ready to celebrate the new build. But I've been Randy Cheneth. Johnny Simone was supposed to join me, but unfortunately was unable to make it here today. So it's all me, myself, and I. Have to thank our partners, of course, ATVO, Simon Grossman, everyone involved there, as well as Estevan Ballo for his track cameras. We do apologize once again for the technical issues. This has been recorded on the back side, so we will get this re-uploaded here shortly with none of these technical issues involved, because thankfully local recordings do not rely on the internet. But thank you once again. I've been Randy Cheneth. We hope to see you next week, and hopefully things go much smoother than they did today. Bye-bye.